Benvenuti a tutti! It is me, the one and only Italian jester VTuber, Pulcinella, and I hope everyone's having a lovely evening today. I'm sorry I had to take one day break from streaming, but I did go to the dentist. Got some inspection on my teeth. They said it was all good. They did this like 3D modeling image thing on my teeth. It was pretty cool. But everything's dope, everything's cool, nothing's wrong. Look at my pearly whites. They're so beautiful, of course. Haven't been doing much. I started working on a focaccia with my brother, and I will make it tomorrow. Maybe I'll take a picture of it and I'll show you guys on stream and I can talk about it. But today, I am playing my favorite game of all time, the one and only Celeste, platformer by the wonderful people at Extremely OK Games in Vancouver, Canada. Now today, I will be doing, I guess you could call it a speed run. I will be trying to go fast. I'm gonna try to do a all red berries run, including the wingless golden. Not all today, of course, because that would be like a 7-hour stream maybe. I'm kind of slow, sorry. But I'm thinking maybe this can be a long running thing with me. I don't know how fast I'll go if I'm trying to actually talk actively the whole time. I feel like I must apologize to all my lawyer viewers. Well, not really apologize. It's my 16th apology video I've made, actually. Because lots of the videos I've been making recently are more dialogue-heavy games or things where I'm just reacting to what's going on. And, I don't know, I feel like that's outside the nature of the stream. I feel like the streamer should be... I mean, I guess a part of their... I appreciate seeing streamers that I enjoy react to things that are cool and funny. But I personally think maybe they should be contributing a little more to the stream. But anyway, I think it's time to start a new game of Celeste. So... without further ado. As Sam Reich once said, the only way to begin is by beginning. So, I think we're gonna start a new game of Celeste. Oh, Madeline. Sorry, I should have renamed myself Pulcinella, but what can you do? Also, I'm much more used to playing on my laptop, which has a different keyboard. So that's my excuse I'm gonna make if I ever die. Or make embarrassing mistakes, like the way I'm jumping right now. Oh, dear God. The humanity. Hello, Granny. Celia. Celia St. James from the hit game. I mean, not hit game. Hit book. The Secret What? The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think so. Oh, no. I'm going to fall into such a big pit. Luckily, I learned a secret technique by a little birdie told me, as they might say. When the city is forsaken. Let's delve into this place. Now that is a car. If anyone knows what I'm talking about. It's not just a watch, it's a statement. So welcome to Celeste. If anyone in the audience is unfamiliar, you play as Madeline, this red-haired girl. She is trying to climb the mountain and we're trying to collect all the strawberries. And that's her first death. Let's go. And she can air dash around. And I can do a bunch of these little movement flourishes where I make these bouncy wouncies. I guess I can call them bouncy wouncies. Not go into the specifics. Actually it's a wounce. Actually it's a Gultra actually. I was trying to ultra here. Oh my god, what is this ledge? I'm just trying to show off. Teehee. So I've been playing Celeste for a very long time. But I still am probably gonna make a lot of mistakes, because I'm kinda dumb like that. Teehee. Alright, there's one over here. Now, in the room that I'm gonna pass into over here, there's a guy named Theo. He's one of our friends on our travels. We're not gonna talk to him, so sorry, Theo. But we'll be catching up with him a little later, if I even make it that far this stream. The secret's hidden in every corner. I'm joking. It's not really a exploration style game. It's more precision platforming. And as you can see, I'm incredibly precise. You can talk about all my sick gamer creds in the chat. I can see you all in chat. You're saying, Pulcinella, I had no idea you were such an epic gamer. I mean, I saw how well you slayed in Dead Cells and other such titles. Super Meat Boy, Pizza Tower. But now we're in my wheelhouse. We're in Celeste, so that means when I mess up, it's even more embarrassing. It breaks my heart every time you die, Madeline. Now, this part, there are these birds, and they give us a secret code to unlock a thing called a crystal heart. And we're going to be trying to collect a bunch of these, so... Oh, I missed the bounce. So sad. Such a time loss for an epic speedrunner like me. Oh my god. Then they respawn me over there. How rude. And I ruin it again. Oh. Look at the birds. They fly away from me. They say, look at you, foolish girl. You think you can summit this mountain? No, that is not the spirit of Celeste. I must push myself away from that path. It's not just a watch, it's a symbol. Is there anything down here I miss? No, there's not. As King Lear once said, I believe it was in Act 3, or maybe it's in Act 2, when he wonders why his daughters, Regan and Goneril, have not come out to greet him at the castle. He says, no, I must not lead myself down that way. That way madness lies. Now, it's not exactly that, I'm paraphrasing it, but you get what I must say. It is not in the spirit of Celeste to say I can't do it. It is the mountain tells you, you must keep going. You can do this. You can do this, Madeline. That's the one piece of text that even as a speedrunner I cannot skip. Because Maddie Thorson wanted me to know, yes, Pulcinella, yes, you can do this. And of course I know I can do it. I just need to look cool for the viewers because I'm a clout chaser. I'm superficial, just like the residents of the Forsaken City. Obsessed with money and status and symbols. Like my watch, my mask. It's not just a mask, it's a symbol, Mom. I need to show my identity through consumption, brand, purchase. That's kind of like a more, I don't know if this says subtle message because it's kind of in your face in this level, but you know, it's not really a part of the plot so per se. I guess there is a whole arc with our friend Theo about his what's it called, social media obsession. Oh, I just saw a chat from my good friend Clarissa Jane, Emily, Nora, Claudia, Wilma. The pause is part of the name, totally. It's not that I forget what I call her. She has seen me play Celeste many a time. You know, actually, she says I'm better at Celeste than her, so... You know, that must mean something, because she is totally a epic Celeste gamer. I'm actually further in Strawberry Jam than her, despite only playing it for a couple of months. I don't know, when did she start playing it, actually? What if she started playing like a week before I did? Then it would be embarrassing, but... It's okay, I have such a big ego. My ego is larger than my hat. I guess I don't know if my hat is very big. My ego is as large as the nose on my mask. Comedically so. Man up energy drink, yes. We're very masculine on stream, chat. I don't know why I'm talking in this sort of like pseudo-theatrical British voice today. I don't know, it's weird. Not really British. Maybe like it's a transatlantic. Oh, wrong way, wrong way. Is it wrong way or is it right way? It was wrong way. So these winged strawberries. These dastardly winged strawberries. You must not air dash or else they will fly away from you. You started playing in 2021. And darling, you tell me that you were only on expert lobby. And I was able to get past it a couple of months. Oh, you flatter me. You flatter me so. I'm joking. Everyone goes at their own pace, and I fear I may have just played way too much Celeste. I think I have over 1,000 hours of on record, which makes it impressive that I'm not that good. It's okay, guys. I'm just adjusting to this new keyboard on my PC, because I would play on my laptop. Do not tell any of my professors from the school that I go to. I will not name the school I go to, but if anyone knows what school I go to, and knows any of the professors, please do not tell them, oh, this girl with the mask, she is just playing Celeste in your class. I mean, it's true. I still have a 4.0 GPA. Oh, no! I got an A- on something. I didn't play anything before expert? What do you even mean by that? Is that supposed to be a dig, or is it supposed to be a compliment? I cannot tell. Because I didn't just jump into expert lobby, my dear. I played beginner and intermediate and advanced. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Maybe it's because I watched Casablanca the other day, and now I've got the whole transatlantic accent stuck in my head. Play it again, Sam! For old time's sake. That movie was not that great. I'm sorry to all the Casablanca heads out there, but... You know, it's really sad. Anyway, time for the thing that's probably going to take all stream, because I'm lazy. Not lazy. I'm not lazy. I would never be so. Sorry, I was just adjusting a thing on the technical side. Wait, is this the B side? Oh, I'm so stupid, I must restart the level. I don't know if I must restart or just go back to the map. There's a thing called the Golden Winged for this level. It's only for this level. Or can you beat chapter 1 without dashing? So I will attempt that. There is one particular screen that I'm terrible at. Oh, and we're off to a tremendous start. Strap yourselves in. It is going to be a bumpy, bumpy, bumpy ride. I sound like a cross between Ingrid Bergman and John Mulaney. So the kid comes up to me and he says, Uncle John. That's me with John Mulaney. I actually saw John Mulaney in concert, guys. Not concert, in performance. So yeah, basically he knows me. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to be associated with John Mulaney. So I'm gonna say, am I associated with John Mulaney? Yesn't. I think it's undeniable that some of his bits are quite humorous. Especially his Back to the Future bit. Anyway, this room is the bane of my existence. And I shall probably spend about half an hour attempting its jump. Especially this starting bit, where one must leap onto the very corner of the spike and somehow make it out alive. Oh, and then they must go like this, and then this. Oh my god, I've gotten so much better at this. Let's go. Now this section is insane because you need 2 jump buttons like some sort of lunatic to be able to pull it off. This level screen also is one of my enemies, but perhaps I have improved at Celeste at a rate at which I am unknown. Now, Clarissa, you seem to be back in the chat. Maybe there were technical difficulties, but I do not seem to recall what you meant by I didn't play anything before Expert. So could you just, explain what you meant by that to us, dear? And I would be so charmed. This is the persona I'm putting on now. Because Celeste is a classy game, we have to be classy. We're smart gaming, dear. And that's serious business. Oh my god. And it's not even smuts. If you don't understand that reference, don't worry. It's a Celeste. It's a Celeste player thing, my dear. I fear you will not understand it. You and your FIFAs and your, I don't know, whatever non-Celeste players play, I only associate with company that can play Celeste. And play it well, by God. By George, by Jove, by Jeeves. Is anyone familiar with the show By Jeeves? Now, my laptop is named Jeeves. That's what I call it. Because I was like, oh, I should have a nickname for my laptop. I guess my new laptop is Jeeves too. I did not skip half of all previous lobbies. You are a con artist and a rube. I started from beginner. Actually, I believe I started with intermediate and then I played beginner. I think actually I played a little bit of beginner, then I played intermediate, then I went back and finished beginner. Did I dash? I hope I didn't dash. Because my finger slipped and landed on the dash button. So, if I dashed, the stream is back like a couple seconds. So, you should totally be able to hear me right now because you're in the other room. I'm joking, you're not in the other room. I don't know where you are. But, you should tell me if I dashed. Like, rewind time, if you could rewind, if I made that a feature that you could do in this stream. I don't like it when streamers make it so you can't rewind on the stream. It's very rude. Sometimes I have no idea what they're saying. What was my favorite map from each lobby? That's a great question. Beginner, I do not remember any things from beginner lobby. I remember hating the puzzle level, because that was one that was very stupid. I cheesed it a lot. There was a puzzle level involving having to make pixel-perfect jumps through gaps that you do by aligning yourself with moving blocks. And I simply just brute forced it with my, of course, my brilliant technical skill. What if I'm going about this the wrong way? What if I... No, I don't think I'm going around this the wrong way, actually. I think I'm going precisely the right way. Paint is beginner. What is paint? I don't know the names of the levels, I only remember the gimmicks. Intermediate, my favorite level is the one where you are, the jellyfish and you're under the sea. Advanced, I don't know, it feels like a cop-out to say the heart sides, but the heart sides are really so amazing pieces. But if I cannot say heart sides, then I like in advanced I like the lab, and in expert I like the one with the very pretty colors. And I like ones where you go very fast, I'm a simple lady, what can I say? I like my levels fast, like my coffee. I don't know. What do you say? Date everything is really ruining my mind. Because I was walking around my house and I saw the air ventilation and I was like, oh, did I talk to Hector today? Cassette mover cat light bulb. I haven't the foggiest idea what you're referring to, my dear. I must say. It's quite a while since I've played beginner, and as a player of my skill level, I believe I frankly wouldn't have spent much time on that level, so... I jest. But, you know, it's hard to remember something when you only spend, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes interacting with it. Unless it's, like, very notable. Like, if you saw a dead body for 5 minutes, then you'd probably remember that for, like, the rest of your life. Especially if it's a dead family member. I don't know. Why did I go there? I was just like, what's something someone would see and they would always remember? I'm like someone on Family Feud, Steve Harvey. What's something someone would see for a 5-minute period and never forget? Da-da-da, naked grandma! I'm joking. Dead body of naked grandma. What am I doing with these neutrals? They're simply garish, darling. I keep getting this one ad that's really getting me mad. Because it's trying to be classy, and it's for, like, Tyson's Chicken Nuggets. And there's this woman who's, like, she goes into this, like, British party. And she has a chicken nugget necklace, and it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And then all the people are looking at her. She's, like, the talk of the ball. And they're like, oh, I'm admiring her nuggets. And, like, really? Really? How pedestrian. I just... Maybe I'm doing the same thing, trying to make us pretend that a VTuber is high culture. VTuber is not high art. Well, I guess high art is just whatever, like, the rich and powerful are interested in. And many VTubers, you need a lot of money for their setup. So, therefore, it must be a thing that the rich and powerful are interested in, which makes it high art. But I guess that means that, like, furry art is also high art, which I don't think the art community would say. This is not me knocking the furry community, but, you know, there are many people in the furry art community. Or other freaky art communities, like the Wonder Bread guy, that have a very large amount of disposable income, but I don't know if that makes it high art just because a couple of rich people like it. Maybe a lot of rich people have to like it. Or maybe the rich people also have to be, like, influential. Like, you cannot just be rich, you must be impacting the way that others live their lives for it to be high art. I don't know. Food for thought. I guess, like, one of the princes of Saudi Arabia really loves Hoonie Pop. Does that make it high art? I would say no. I haven't played Hoonie Pop. I hear it's a pretty good Candy Crush clone. But I'm not that interested in Candy Crush clones. I feel bad for all the poor souls that enjoy Hoonie Pop with the gameplay and then are painted as freaks by society. It's quite sad. Like the Prince of Saudi Arabia. I'm joking. I think he has bigger problems than that because I think his brother threw him in jail or something. I don't exactly know what the current political situation is, so... MBS, do not come after me. But, yeah. I just know he's on Steam, and then he will try to play Dota with people, and then he'll be like, hey guys, sorry if I can't game, you know, I have to go to my computer room, which is like a 30-minute walk away, because my palace is just that big. And he's like, yeah, so I thought it'd be really cool if they made a Dota anime, and, like, my family owns stock in Amazon, so we just, like, told them to make a Dota anime, or else, and they did it, so... Teehee! The life of a royal. Do you think that the Wonder Bread guy and their ilk are the new modern day patrons of the arts? Like when the really rich people, like you were talking about, Lorenzo Medici. Am I doing 100% or is this just for core? I'm doing 100%, darling. Why would I be picking up the strawberries if I was only trying to get core? We're trying to go to the moon. Literally and figuratively. And literally and figuratively. Well, I don't know if she ever goes to the moon. She goes to space, but it's in a dream. Spoilers for the end of Celeste and Super Mario Bros. 2. It was all a dream. Well, not all a dream, but you know. Super Mario Bros. 2 was all a dream. That's the explanation to why he was throwing vegetables at work. But then I believe that Birdo is a very real person. So maybe Birdo and Shy Guy are just real. But Mario just happened to have a dream about them. And that's why they appear in the game. Now guys, actually this is a really niche bit of gaming trivia that no one knows, but did you know that actually it was a Japanese game called Doki Doki Panic? What is ARB? All red berries. I see, then why would I be picking up the crystal heart? Oh, because of core, I'm stupid. But why would I be picking up the golden berry? You must really think, darling. Use that beautiful brain of yours that you can use for computer science on something a little more useful, like Celeste. I'm joking. I do not mean to diminish your intelligence anyway, knowing that I'm not that smart either. That's a lie. I'm smart. I'm just not smart on things that many of my friends are smart at. I'm not even smart at Celeste, because it seems that you are indeed more familiar with the terminology and the words of the community. I'm like a hermit living in the mountains, you know, and I'm cooking my, I don't need to go in for 100%. Well, I'm doing it because I think it's fun. It's Pulcinella %, okay? And it's whatever I would like to do. I do hope you're not offended by anything I'm saying. I mean no ill will towards you, and I hope you know this is all just friendly banter. If not, then I'll lose my biggest fan, so... You know, that's how superficial I am. I don't care about you as a person at all, Clarissa. I only care about you as a number. You know, you a penny on my millions of dollars that I'm making off of this YouTube gig. So, really, I don't care if you stop watching me. I'm joking, of course. You're an invaluable presence in my life, and I hope you know that. Anyway, enough with the sentimental stuff. I'll go back to insulting my pal, my buddy, old pal. But please let me know if you feel uncomfortable with this in any way. Now, what was I talking about? What am I doing landing on those spikes? Call me, Spike. What's that guy's name? Spike from Mario, I see. Actually, I think he's in Wrecking Crew, but then they put him in the Mario Brothers movie, voiced by Sebastian Maniscalco. But yeah, I was talking about, Super Mario Brothers 2. Now, I've never beaten Super Mario Brothers 2. I do find it quite funny how you have to win by, you have to fight Wart the turtle. I mean, the toad, I'm sorry. And you have to throw root vegetables into his mouth to stop him. And then Mario wakes up and is like, oh, mamma mia, thank God, this was all a dream. But it's the first game that introduced the different properties of the characters, like how Princess Peach could float and how Toad runs fast and Luigi jumps high. And for that, it's quite interesting. So even though many purists might not consider it a true Super Mario Bros. Game, I would consider it a Mario Bros. Game. I would also consider Lost Levels a Mario game, of course, because that's the original Super Mario Bros. 2, but I don't know. Even though it's just a reskin, I think it was influential enough to the Mario franchise to be deemed a Super Mario Bros. Game. And I think, even though it's like a reskin, I don't know, they put enough differences into it to make it its own thing. Maybe that's just me trying to cope and seethe. I guess I will. I'm coping and or seething right now. No. Is it right here that the... Oh, no. I think I must go down and activate Dreamscape. Like his old school RuneScape. I don't even know. I've never played RuneScape. Sorry, Nerissa. Who I know is one of my biggest fans, Nerissa Ravencroft. She watches all my streams. Except for the times when her streaming is at the same time that I am streaming, which is most of the time. Because she streams at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I stream at 7:30 Eastern Time. So that means at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. You know, that gives her 30 minutes to watch my stream, and as a streamer, I know you don't start working on anything of the stream until about 2 minutes before the stream. I'm joking, of course. I usually spend, maybe half an hour, or I don't know. But I've been spending less and less time recently, but that's because I'm getting more confident. I guess that's what we'll call it. I should definitely get better at making thumbnails, you know, putting myself out there on the YouTube algorithm. Usually I just get a screenshot of the game and I put it behind me and I try to make the YouTube reaction face, but then OBS wouldn't even let me upload it because they say my file sizes are too big or whatever. And then I hate when I try to rip stuff off the internet and then it's the .webp file. Like, really? Why is the .webp file even a thing? Does it just exist to stop you from being able to use it? You're a computer science person, Clarissa, Jane, Emily, Nora, Claudia, Wilma. Let me know. What is up with WebP files? What's the deal with WebP files? My girlfriend's 17 and I'm a 38-year-old man. Now, what's the deal with that? I'm dating a 17-year-old. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm joking. There is. There is something wrong with that, Jerry. There is. I can't believe George would tolerate that. Like George Costanza, my man. You know he's never done anything wrong in his life. George Costanza, he would never be rude or he would never do anything to anybody that would warrant any negative criticism of him, and it just lets me down. WebP is optimized for websites. Okay, I see. So you can put it on the internet. Is it designed to stop bums like me from ripping it? Because it's very effective at that. I don't know. Make it a PNG. A JPEG. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a goddamn hot dog. I don't know if that's what he says. I know he says that I don't want to upload to OneDrive. I want to be on my computer that I own in my house. Dang it, Bobby. If someone likes their steaks well done, we ask them politely but firmly to leave. I see King of the Hill is back. It's very sad that I never really watched King of the Hill. I don't think I watched the reboot. It's very sad that one of the actors in it was murdered. So rest in peace, Jonathan Joss. That took a dark turn, I'm sorry, but I don't know. It's been on my mind thinking about King of the Hill. And I don't know. Not to get all serious, but it's the official stance of the Pulcinella channel. Hashtag Pulcinella gets political. I think hate crimes are bad and people shouldn't do them. And I think murder is not cool. So knock it off, guys. I don't know. Anyway, back to Celeste. This is my evil doppelganger. I like the way they say doppelganger in the game and they make the text float around. Of course, you wouldn't see that because I skipped it like a bum. I say bum a lot. I think it's because my Baba says bum a lot. It's like his biggest insult that he loves to use for people. Like, he just will call anyone a bum. I don't know if it's like a Armenian thing or like if it's just a family thing or... I used to think turkey was like a common Middle Eastern insult, but I think my Baba and his father and his Jiddo, they just, you know, they insulted. They called people turkeys a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just like an outdated English accent. Insult. I don't know. I know that supposedly one of my grandfather's friends sent a Valentine's Day card that was James Bond themed. It was like because they had a poster of "From Russia with Love" by James Bond, and but they changed it to say "From Turkey with Love" because they were in Turkey. We are not Turkish, but I believe his friend maybe was Turkish. And then the date was incredibly offended. They were like, "Are you calling me a turkey?" Which I don't know. I'm probably misremembering the story at least, but because if they said "From Turkey with Love," maybe I feel like it would be them like insulting themselves. Like they're not insulting who receives it. Maybe they're like, I don't want to be with anyone that doesn't value themselves and doesn't have big self-worth. One of your mom's dads. Your mom's friend's dad. Your parents have friends? That's crazy. I'm joking. I'm not trying to insult your parents. I'm just trying to insult my parents. I'm sorry if they're listening from the other room. Mom and Baba, I love you. You should get out more. But such is the woe of an employee in the sector that they work in. That makes it sound like very ominous. No, they're like statisticians. I just mean like it's, I don't know, nerdy types. One time I was in 5th grade and I was like hungry and tired and I broke down crying in the car and they said, what's wrong? And I said, I just realized my parents are a bunch of boring nerds. And then they started laughing. They started yucking it up. And I was like, I don't know why this is that funny. They really laughed at this thing I said. And I believe you've laughed at this, Clarissa, where they're like, that's a ridiculous thing that I've said. I still stand to this opinion that I have, but apparently people find it really ridiculous, where I once knew this guy at my daycare. His name was Mr. Charles. My mom said, Mr. Charles, you're putting people in boxes. Because what Mr. Charles would do is for the boys, when they did something good, he'd let them play sports, and when they were bad, he made them color. But then when the girls did something good, they got the color, and when they did something bad, they had to play sports. But then it was like he didn't let the girls play dodgeball even, because he was like, that's a boy sport. And then when he gave the boys coloring books, he's like, they can't do the girl coloring books, they have to do Batman coloring books. So I think he was a deeply weird individual, Mr. Charles. But I'm very conflicted, because on one hand, he was kind of strange with his interactions with children in a way that, as a child care semi-professional, because I worked with children for a little bit, Lord Drop, is not typically considered something that you want to do. But also, he was a kidney donor, so, like, I don't know what to think about him. So, People think it's very funny when I say that. I'm conflicted about the fact that he was a bad guy, but also a kidney donor. But I don't know. I really respect kidney donors. They do good work. Should I shrink myself? I think I'm going to shrink myself. Sorry. Real quick. I'm going to be a little pause. I'm going to shrink myself. Hey, here I am. Okay. And we're back in Celeste. Oh, no. We're not going there. We're sticking with the old site, baby. Whew. I don't like having to go back to B-sides, A-sides, C-sides. Like, you do each in a row. I like just knocking out a whole chapter. Also, if I'm so bored from how comically easy the A-side is, I can just go to the B-side and get a challenge after I'm done. I'm joking. I guess maybe it's more ideal and switches up the flow of gameplay more and creates a better natural progression of difficulty if I do it the other way. But, you know, such is life. And I've already decided on a convention, so why break it? That's a fallacy, I believe. I don't know what fallacy, but it definitely sounds like a fallacy. My Baba tried to teach me a lot of fallacies when I was little. I should know my grandpa, he got cancer, and he also ate at this one restaurant, and he thought the restaurant gave him cancer. And my Baba was like, Baba, that's classic post hoc ergo proctor hoc. So I knew post hoc ergo proctor hoc when I was little. Which is basically when you be like, oh, this thing happened after another thing, so that means the thing that happened first must have caused the second thing. Usually it's used in like diseases and stuff, but there are other applications. I just can't think of any at the top of my head. I knew that, and I also knew gambler's fallacy. So, oh, I was talking about Jeeves. This loops back to Jeeves. I got to use gambler's fallacy in my 8th grade math class. I did not like the teacher, and he did not like me. But he really liked the Jeeves books, and he had a Jeeves book on his desk. And I bought that Jeeves book on Kindle. I don't think I finished it. It was by Jeeves. Not by Jeeves. It was not by Jeeves. My man Jeeves. It was my man Jeeves. And I just like the name Jeeves. I think they need to bring back Jeeves from Ask Jeeves. So I think they should anthropomorphize the search engines more. Where it's, you know, you're talking to an English butler. You're not talking to. But don't make it like an AI British butler. Make it just like the search engine, except just add a thing where it's like, you look up like, I don't know, cat cafes near me, and then it'll be like, ah, my lady, I've located a cat cafe within your vicinity, within your zip code, and like just rebrand Google and make it with a British guy. That would be great. But anyway, Andrew Lloyd Webber made this musical called By Jeeves that was a complete flop. But I think he made like a pro shot of it. And during 2020, he did this thing. He started a YouTube channel called The Shows Must Go On, where every week he would upload a new recording, one of the recordings of a musical that he worked on, and it would be up for the week, and then he'd take it down. And I think they still bring stuff back. And that's where I fell in love with the Phantom of the Opera, because they played the Phantom of the Opera, I believe, 2012 Royal Albert Hall performance. It was the 25th anniversary of the play, whenever that was, starring Ramin Karimulu. I'm very sorry if I said your name wrong, Ramin, but I respect you very much as a singer. And God, it's just amazing. I love that whole cast. It's simply wonderful. You have to check it out with me sometime. But I don't know. If I had a nickel for every time I saw a musical rendition for an anniversary of it at St. Albert Hall recording, and I thought that was the best version of it, then I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Also with Les Miserables, I love the 10th anniversary St. Albert Hall concert, even though they do cut some content I really like Marius's song with Jean Valjean near the end that always makes me cry. Where they say, there was a man, his name was Jean Valjean, he stole some bread to save his sister's son. For 19 years served his time, the sweat washed away his crime. Years ago, he broke parole and lived a life apart. How can he tell Cosette and break her heart? It's for Cosette he is, I don't know, something. If she has gone, if he has gone, she is disgraced. The time has gone to journey on, and from this day he must be gone. Who am I? And he starts breaking down. He goes, who am I? And Marius goes, you're Jean Valjean. And God, that just gets me in my feels every time. So beautiful. But anyway, as I was saying, he uploaded the pro shot of By Jeeves onto the channel. And that's where I watched By Jeeves. By Jeeves is not a very good show. There's this American guy who's he owns like a jelly business in Tennessee or something. Maybe it's like the Smucker's fortune or something, but he gets mad at the British people because like, it's not jam, it's jelly. We murder people down in Kentucky or Tennessee for saying jam instead of jelly. And they're like, haha, those silly Americans. And then there's Jeeves, who the whole time they hype up Jeeves is like he's like the smartest guy ever and he will get you out of any fix. Okay, and the way the books do it is they actually have him being clever, but I guess Andrew couldn't come up with anything good for Jeeves to do. He only helps out at the very last second where he does like a fourth wall break where he like moves around props on the he moves around a turntable on the stage to help Bertrand Wooster, his employer, get out of a sticky situation. And like, really? I don't know, but the songs are not that good. I do like the titular by Jeeves is a pretty good song. Maybe I'm just deluded myself into thinking that because I listened to it over and over, and then that's how I was like, oh, of course, by Jeeves is just such a good song. By marmalade, by something da 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 da. By every tender breath that ease, by George, by Joe, by Jeeves. Something when Jeeves reveals a plan. And there's this one song where it was like, what do you have to say, Jeeves? What do you have to say? This one, Bertrand and Jeeves get in a big argument. And then Jeeves does like a Bertie Wooster diss track. Like he does start like fast rapping. He's like, you're quite unpleasant, sir, and blah 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 blah. He just like try to. I don't know if it's triplet rap. It's not triplet rhyme because triplet rhyme would be like, Bertrand Wooster, you are such a cad. I don't know if he's a cad. He's kind of caddish. We need to bring back calling people cads and fops. My apologies for the cough. I need to be drinking more water. But, do you think I'm foppish? I don't think I'm foppish. But yeah, we need to bring back, I don't know. I just think they're very good insults. There are a lot of good insults. We need to bring back, like, defunct professions. We need to bring back, like, the knocker-upper. You know, when before you had alarm clocks, you, like, pay a poor dude in the streets of London to get a cane and bang on your windows. Like, that was when we were a real country. Saying this about the thing that happened in England. It probably happened in the States, too. Like, I don't know. Until Benjamin Franklin invented the alarm clock. I'm joking, he didn't. I used to have a book when I was little called Now and Then We Think About Ben. And I was like, yo, Ben Franklin was like the coolest guy ever. Where it was like, now and again we think about Ben Franklin, that is. He invented the odometer, and he had his lightning rod with the key and the kite. And, you know, he was a big proponent of vitamin C for scurvy and going around, and he learned about how the Gulf Stream worked, and wasn't Ben Franklin like one of the greatest guys who ever lived? And I was like, yo, Ben Franklin's my man. I don't know. I like how in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I don't know what game it is, some skating game, you can meet Benjamin Franklin and he's there, and then he says, I'm going to invent a new move called the Franklin. That's like word for word what he does, and then you can do a new move called the Franklin. I love logos or just things that show Ben Franklin doing like modern things. Like, he was truly born in the wrong era. I'm joking, but I don't know what would have happened if Ben Franklin was not in his era. We wouldn't have bifocals, for God's sake, of course, and we wouldn't have his reading chair. But, because of his reading chair, this just unlocked a core memory for me. They had this, like, baby, like, bib chair, like, wooden chair, at my daycare thing that I went to. It was, like, a before and after care, but it was inside of, like, a church, and they also had, like, a preschool that was there, and they had this, like, baby feeding chair that was, like, and it was, like, Ben Franklin's, like, desk chair that he invented so he could, like, sit and write also on it. And I was like, yo, that's Ben Franklin's invention. I gotta sit on it. And I sat on it, and I was a very skinny child, and I was able to fit inside, but everyone made fun of me. And also, I think I broke it. It was also why they made fun of me. But, because I was trying to be like Ben Franklin. I thought it'd be so cool. I love the Philadelphia 76ers logo where it has Ben Franklin balling. Now, I may be incredibly disrespectful towards Philadelphia sports teams. I don't, except the Flyers. I love you, Gritty. But, so I guess the Flyers have earned my respect. And so have the 76ers, because the logo of Ben Franklin ballin' is really one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It's such a good logo. But Phillies, I do not like them very much. I mean, I don't really have opinions on them, but I don't know. They're just. Well, one time I had to do the statistics problem about the Phillies, and it got me a little annoyed because there's this thing about like are Phillies fans more likely to drive red cars? And it was like they went to a Phillies game and surveyed it, who had red cars, and they compared it with like the general public. But also, it was clearly flawed because they chose a game where the Phillies were playing the Washington Nationals. And the Washington Nationals also are a red team. Like, I don't know that much about sports, but like that much I can say for certain. My baba is really into sports trivia, so I know a little bit. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous to I don't know. What's it called? To claim, because like, what if it was Nationals fans? What if it's all out of town people who brought the red cars? Like, you'll never know. Shout out to Grasshopper, my favorite Nationals player, who now is a Phillies player. I think there was a poster that my Bobby used to have as Bryce Harper because he was like a player that he really admired. I think he was, I don't know. Because I think he was like pretty good in the league. But I always called him Grasshopper when I was little. And my Baba really got a kick out of that. I don't know. There's a certain football player, I don't know if I say it, it's going to dox what city I'm from. Because it's a very specific football player. My grandpa used to yell about him at the TV so much I thought he was the president. I mean, I didn't know what the president looked like. I just assumed that this guy's name was the president. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, if it was like Tom Brady, like it's not Tom Brady because I don't know why anyone would yell at Tom Brady because this guy was very bad at football. Then I would be like, oh yeah, President Tom Brady. Also, I think this guy's name sounded very presidential, like, because he had like a whole. He had a whole like. It's like the middle name and everything. Like, I feel like that makes you more... Because, you know, like the whole stretch of presidents where it's like Warren G. Harding, William Howard Taft, you know, you got like JFK. Like, if you're no one with the middle name also, it's like, okay, this guy's like legit. Maybe that was just what little me thought because my aunt was a social studies teacher and she taught me about all the presidents' names. Because I'm an insane president-obsessed person. You know, just today I was watching this video from a YouTuber I quite respect, Mr. Beat. I've seen it before as a bot of a stream. Where he's a social studies teacher from Kansas, and he does these streams about civics. And it was like who I would vote for at every U.S. presidential election, except for the ones that he actually voted in. So I guess I'll never get to know who he voted for in 2000 onwards, but it's fun seeing his thing. And I'm thinking about all these elections, and I'm like, who would I have voted for in 1876? Actually, 1876 specifically, I don't really know who I'd vote for. Frankly, I don't know enough about Samuel B. Tilden. I think the compromise of 1876 was a complete sham. And I think the consequences of it are still affecting the nation. I don't know. I promise that not get political. Sorry. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Sorry to any. Sorry. Oh my god, I'm very sneezy today. I'm sorry, folks. Sorry to any Hayes fans in the chat or any children, anyone who has strong opinions about or really loves the compromise of 1876. But I don't know. I feel like Republicans, they were like, oh, we lost. We're gonna give it, but can we still be president? But we just get to do one of the big Democrat policy agendas. Which was ending Reconstruction, which I think was a bad thing that they ended it so early. Personally, I don't know. If that's a controversial thing to say, then so be it. I don't know. It seems like a pretty reasonable take to me, but I don't know who would disagree with it. Maybe there are some people who would, but anyway, I think that they, you know, I guess they assumed. I don't really know much about what's going on at the time. I guess they assumed like a Samuel Tilden presidency they would do it anyway, or they were like, oh, we don't really care about Reconstruction anyway here, and that was what the elites were thinking. I don't really know much about the inner workings and what they were thinking when they did the compromise of 1876, but and maybe they were like, oh, you know, we don't really care about the fate of black people in the South. We just, you know, we have other policy agendas. Like people really cared about like the gold standard and stuff at the time. So maybe they were like, oh, the Democrats are so bad on that, and we really don't want them to do those things. So that's why we're gonna, give up this thing we see as inconsequential that they hate anyway. I don't know. I just think, hindsight is 2020, but I don't know. Not like a Samuel Tilden presidency would have been great for Reconstruction, but I think just ending it then and there was like horrible decisions. I don't know. And then maybe, who knows, if Garfield could go, maybe Garfield could, was Garfield a Democrat or Republican? I feel ashamed. I'm sorry. I don't know what Garfield was. I'm pretty sure Garfield was a Republican. Because Chester Arthur was his running mate, and Chester Arthur was a Republican, I'm pretty sure. So, but, I don't know, maybe James Garfield could have done stuff. I don't know. But also he did get assassinated by Charles Guido. Get out. But maybe, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. But hypothetical timeline, maybe Garfield would have made Reconstruction more of a big deal. I don't know if Chester Arthur cared that much personally about Reconstruction. But, I don't know. I don't really know what once we get to Grover Cleveland, I don't really know what their own opinions about Reconstruction were. I don't really know much. I don't have much opinions on Grover Cleveland, other than "Ma, where's my pa," which is an objectively very funny thing, because everyone tried to insult Grover Cleveland with this campaign song, "Ma, where's my pa," because they were like, "Oh, he has a lot of illegitimate children," but then Grover Cleveland fans were like, "Oh, that's so cool. He's such a playboy," and they would sing along with it, and they'd be like, "Ma, where's my pa? He's in the White House. Ha ha ha." And it was like, yeah, he's kind of a scumbag, but he's our guy. And that's kind of crazy. Also, it's kind of wild how he got his tumor removed on a boat in the middle of nowhere, because he didn't want anyone to know about how he had cancer. And that's I don't know, it's just kind of a fun story. But also, he was kind of a creep. Because people were like, "Oh, you're such a confirmed bachelor, Grover. Why have you not married anyone?" And he would joke, which I don't even know. Even as a joke, this is weird. He'd say, "I'm waiting for little Frances next door to grow up." And Frances was like a child, okay. And then she grew up and he actually married her. I don't know. Presidents usually have a lot of weird love stories, because people who become presidents are usually you have to be a very strange kind of person to become a president of the United States. In my opinion, I don't know. Are there any normal, well-adjusted human beings that have been president? I don't know. Not in my opinion. You have to be a little bit crazy to be president. Maybe to think that you could be president and be good at running a country like the United States, you have to be kind of crazy. I don't know. Would I run for president? Maybe. I'm teasing my bid. Once I become president, then all the scholars will look at this and they say, "Oh my God, Pulcinella, she teased it in her first few weeks of streaming, and she became first VTuber president of the United States." As my first official act, I invite HoloLive to the White House. I don't know if HoloLive would accept an offer to the White House if they want to stay a non-political entity. Yeah, 18. Are there 18 hearts? How many strawberries in Pico 8? How many Pico 8 strawberries? 18, okay. Now, Garfield party. Garfield political party. Okay, he was a Republican. What did Garfield think about Reconstruction? Okay, he was a big fan of Reconstruction, but I guess maybe 1876. Yo, he was a radical. Okay. James Garfield could have been great. Yo, that's great. What if he still got assassinated? What did Chester A. Arthur think about Reconstruction? Chester Arthur supported the spoils system. Bro, what the hell? I mean, I guess I do like the Pendleton Act is pretty good. Wait, why did they say he supported the spoils system, though? he was a big believer, but he passed the Pendleton Act, which is a anti. That's confusing. I don't know. What did Chester A. Arthur do for African Americans? He was I guess when he was a lawyer, he did a thing that helped for desegregation of streetcars. I don't know. I guess, yeah, he didn't do that much, which is also bad. I don't know. Clarissa, should I stop the political talk, or should I keep going? This is my special interest, you know. I love American history, even though I can't believe I wouldn't know such a detail so simple about, Chester A. Arthur. I don't know if he's that notable of a president. I'm gonna try to come up with let's say if I say one fact about every president. Washington, go easy. Everyone knows George Washington. A lot of people wanted to bury him inside of the Capitol building. They were built if you go to the Capitol building in DC, there's a big underground section that it was built, and it's called George Washington's Mausoleum. They built this for him before he even died. But then he actually died, and he was like, hey, can you bury me in Mount Vernon? And they keep the crypt there, but it's I don't know. They were very disappointed. I don't know. I don't know who would ever want to be buried in Virginia, but I jest. No hate towards any Virginians. But, okay. John Adams, he's kind of a bum. I'm joking. He did a lot of stuff I didn't like. He did some stuff I did like. Abigail Adams is kind of a legend. I don't know. What's a fact I can think about him? I don't know. I just know he's very nerdy, and people know, all the people around him were like, yeah, this guy is, he sucks. This guy is so annoying. So, I don't know. I don't know how much of that is exaggerated by others, but I don't know. He was very much establishment, New England type guy. Very I don't know if elitist is the term, but he's kind of elitist. I don't know. I just know also apparently he was a terrible father to John Quincy. I haven't never seen the Adams show on HBO, so I wouldn't know much about Adams. I'm very sorry to all the Adams heads out there. Thomas Jefferson, he loves mac and cheese. James Monroe, I don't know, he wrote the Bill of Rights. This is his big thing that he did. Oh wait, no. That's not James Madison. I mean James Madison, I'm so sorry. James Monroe did not write the I'm so awful. But yeah, anyway, James Madison, he wrote the Bill of Rights. I don't know, he's basically just sort of like Jefferson too. He was proud with Jefferson. He was a hypochondriac. That's true. That's why in Hamilton, because of course I'm a theater kid, they say, Madison, you mad as a Haddison, take your medicine. Because he was always paranoid about getting sick. James Monroe, era of good feelings. Because this is when the Democratic Republicans were basically the only political party in town. And the economy was doing pretty well. Because the Federalists completely shot themselves in the foot at the Hartford Convention, and no one wanted to associate with them anymore. There's John Quincy Adams. He probably shouldn't have been president. He won through the corrupt bargain of 1824, where Jackson should have won. But he ended up making this deal with Henry Clay, where he's like, hey, boy, if you make me president, then you can be Speaker of the House. And they were like, sure. And the Jackson supporters were so mad about this. Andrew Jackson bought this entire ginormous wheel of cheese for the White House, and it went rotten, but he kept being in there in the White House foyer. He also, apparently his White House, it smelled terribly because he installed spittoons in every room for people to spit their tobacco into, because people just loved chewing tobacco back in those days. Oh my god, is that the wrong? Did I make a mistake? Did I make a humiliating mistake? I think I made a humiliating mistake. Yeah, I made a mistake. I'm gonna get the strawberry and then load back my old save. Anyway, so that's the Jackson fact. Martin Van Buren, his middle name is no, it's not his middle name. His first language is Dutch, actually. Van Buren. I don't know. They called him the Little Magician because they were like, oh, he can work wonders with the economy, and he's really, really short. But the economy was kind of trash under him. It was not really his fault. I mean, it kind of was, because he was a big fan of Jacksonian economic theory. But I believe Panic of 1830 2003 was like around his time, and he mismanaged that, and I don't know, the economy just sucked out of everywhere. And then there's William Henry Harrison. Everyone knows that he died in 30 days. He also fought at the Battle of Tippecanoe. That's why they advertised his slogan was Tippecanoe and Tyler too, because I guess Tyler was just like the sidekick. Tyler, he was, because William Henry Harrison was the first Whig president. But so they were like, okay, we're gonna see what the Whig administration is gonna be like. But he ends up dying, and John Tyler ends up replacing him. John Tyler ended up having 2 grandsons that were alive. His grandson died like very recently because he really liked younger women, and his son also liked younger women because he was kind of a creep, I guess. Anyway, he was like a very moderate Whig, so that's why Tippecanoe chose him, because he was like, maybe we can get people on board with all this Whig stuff if they put him on it. I should probably have done elevator shaft to checkpoint so I wouldn't have to done huge mess. I don't know what that means, but okay, I trust you on it. Sorry. We're just having fun here. We're just chilling, talking about presidents. I don't know if anyone wants to hear me just rant about U.S. presidents, but too bad, you're already here, pal. What are you gonna do, close the tab? I'm joking. But anyway, John Tyler, he was basically a Democrat, and the Whigs, like, I think they disowned him from the party, and he became a Democrat. Anyway, and then there's James K. Polk. James K. Polk, I think he's from North Carolina. He calls himself Young Hickory, because Jackson was known as Old Hickory. He's like, I need to be Jackson 2.0. And his whole rhetoric was like, please let me go to war. Please let me go to war. Please let me go to war, man. I just want to go to war. Where he was big on the 44-40 fight, where he's like, we need to go to war with England over Oregon. And he also was like, we need to go to war with Mexico. He did do the Mexican-American War, and there were a lot of territorial gains in that. But bro just really wanted to expand the country. He's kind of crazy. He really wanted to go to war. Then there's Zachary Taylor. I think Zachary Taylor is also a Whig, maybe. But he died because he had like milk that went bad. It was the big fact that people know about Zachary Taylor. He was also a general war hero in the Mexican-American War. And he gets replaced with Millard Fillmore. Millard Fillmore, other than being named Millard Fillmore, his biggest thing was just that he what's it called? He was involved with the Conference of 1850, passed the Kansas-Nebraska Act and the Fugitive Slave Act, which both sucked. But then there's Franklin Pierce. I don't really know much about Franklin Pierce other than that he was like kind of young for the time, and he was like very just much like same old. I don't know. He was a bum. He didn't do that much. Buchanan. People think he's gay. He was the only unmarried president. I don't know if he was gay or just had no riz or just wasn't interested in marriage. We'll never know. Unless we find some, like, I don't know, seamy letters with his boyfriend. But he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would have a boyfriend because he had no riz. He was considered one of the worst presidents ever because he just sat by and let the country collapse. I mean, I guess maybe civil war was inevitable because, like, they just kept kicking the can down the road. But I don't know. He certainly didn't help things with the way he tried to handle things. And after Abraham Lincoln got elected and they were like clear that civil war was starting, then he went and put his head out the White House window and started yelling, "I am the last president of the United States! I am the last president of the United States!" So, I don't know, that was kind of goofy, odd moment. But, you know, it's okay, he's not the first president or the last president to say something stupid, so what can you do? There will be many presidents. I think that's just something that comes with the job. When I am president, I will say something stupid. You know, even as a streamer, I say something stupid. So imagine how many opportunities for me to say stupid things there are when you're the president. It lends itself to saying dumb stuff. But anyway. So, Abraham Lincoln. Everyone knows stuff about Abraham Lincoln. He was really into wrestling as a child. He was pretty good at it, too. Apparently he had a very high voice, though. I don't know. There's Mary Todd Lincoln. I think she was really into seances. Because she, you know, the Lincoln family just was met with tragedy after tragedy. And it's kind of sad. I think Lincoln claimed he saw ghosts. Or maybe he had, like, nightmares of seeing, like, a ghostly version of himself, supposedly. So it's kind of spooky. Then there's Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson was Lincoln's compromise pick in the 1964 election where he was against George McClellan. He's like, okay, I'll pick this moderate guy as my running mate. Andrew Johnson, I think, is one of the worst presidents in American history because he completely fumbles the ball in Reconstruction because he was very just like a racist guy and just didn't care. And I don't know, it just gets me mad about like how things could have changed maybe after the Civil War, and he just bungled it, man. Like, I don't know, it gets me mad. Anyway, then Rutherford B. Hayes, we talked about 1876 compromise. It's disgusting. Oh, I forgot about Hiram Ulysses Grant. His real name, he called himself Ulysses S. Grant, but his real name was Hiram Ulysses Grant. The S didn't stand for anything. And fun fact, he's not the only U.S. president to have a S as his middle name that doesn't really stand for anything. There's another one, which will be coming up. I don't know. He that's his fun fact. He also drank a lot, which I think is very popular in the public imagination. His administration was plagued with scandals because he surrounded himself with a lot of shady characters. I don't know if he himself was shady. I think he never got personally implicated in stuff, but it looked bad for his administration. Looked bad for the Republican Party in general. So maybe that's what helped Tillon do so well in 1876, which led to the whole, compromise of 1876 and the whole mess that they got stuck with themselves over there. Garfield was assassinated by Charles Guiteau, who's a complete freak, and he wrote this one manifesto supporting Garfield, and barely anyone read it. But then he was like, oh, they need to make me like an ambassador or something because of how my letter single-handedly won Garfield the election. And Garfield didn't give him a position because he was like, who are you, man? And then he shot Garfield, but then it could have been removed, but the doctor in charge of Garfield did not wash his hands before doing the surgery, and they just dug in through looking for the bullet, and they looked for the bullet with a metal detector, and while he was on a metal spring mattress. So they were just looking for the bullet, they couldn't find it, and they're digging around with the unwashed, unprotected, unsanitized hands, and it gets infected, and he dies a slow, painful death after. It's kind of sad. Chester Arthur, I barely know anything about this man. He was a lawyer. He had mutton chops. Yeah, so sorry to all the Chester Alan Arthur fans. I think he's from Ohio. Then there's Grover Cleveland. I already talked about him a little bit, so yeah. Benjamin Harrison, he actually was related to William Henry Harrison. That's his big thing. He has a great beard, but he's a terrible guy. He presided as president over the Wounded Knee Massacre, which I'm not going to describe in detail, but it's horrific, and you should look it up. Complete disgusting atrocity. So I won't like him very much. The only true 23rd president of the United States for my heart is President Funny Valentine, my man, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Steel Ball Run. Who, maybe even he tries to destroy the world, even he's not as bad as William Henry Harrison. At least he's likable. I'm joking. But, yeah. If Funny Valentine was real, he would be worse than Benjamin Harrison. I think it's obvious, because Benjamin Harrison didn't try to, destroy the multiverse or whatever. And try to resurrect Jesus Christ. I don't know. That was such a... I guess you could say it's a bizarre manga. Anyway, then there's Grover Cleveland back. Then there's, God, why am I forgetting this? I definitely can get this, Is it McKinley? I'm gonna guess maybe McKinley. This is hard. Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Cleveland came back again. I think it's gotta be, William McKinley. Yeah, so there's McKinley, He started the Spanish-American War, which is shockingly not many Americans know about the Spanish-American War, where, they know maybe blame the main on Spain, where it's kind of crazy that we, annexed, Guam and, the Philippines. That's kind of, I don't know. They were like, we need to do colonialism, guys, please. And it was really influenced by yellow journalism, sort of like our William Randolph Hearst type characters in Pulitzers, trying to exaggerate how bad Spain was and trying to get us to go to war so they could personally profit off of it, which is gross. And McKinley leaned into it. There's Teddy Roosevelt. So many Teddy Roosevelt stories. Everyone knows he got shot during one of his speeches and kept going. He ended up not running he ends up replacing McKinley after McKinley gets assassinated in Rochester, New York, at a train station. But then he gives up the position, but then he wants to go back into politics because he doesn't like how William Howard Taft is doing stuff. And he ends up splitting the vote for the Republicans in the 1912 election, which ends up being disastrous. When he tries to make his Progressive Bull Moose Party, which I think he was a great reformer, and I think he should have just stayed in the job, and I don't know. William Howard Taft didn't even want to be president. He wanted to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. It was his true dream, and he actually got to achieve that. So that's the big fun fact. If you're on a Quiz Bowl team or any trivia thing, they'll tell you the big thing you need to know is that William Howard Taft was Supreme Court Justice. He's the only president to also serve as a Supreme Court Justice. Fun fact. Because a lot of presidents did start out as lawyers, actually, but his passion was more for the judiciary than the executive. But yeah, in 1912, he ends up swaying the Republican vote, and then Woodrow Wilson is able to easily win. Woodrow Wilson, I have many gripes with. I do not like Woodrow Wilson one bit. He's a very racist man, very nasty. I don't like a lot of his the way he handled the whole League of Nations thing, where he's like, American won't join the League of Nations. Like, the League of Nations still sucked, but like, I don't know. I think, and World War II probably still gonna happen, but like he definitely had a hand in making it worse. But he had a terrible stroke near like the last months of his presidency, and his wife would just be president for him. Basically, she was like covering up how bad his state was, and she would like pretend to be him. Well, in like statements and stuff, she would like write the letters that were from him and stuff, and like, so I guess that's one of the times a woman served as president. Well, technically, Kamala Harris was serving as acting president while Joe Biden went underneath surgery, because the vice president can serve as acting president for a short period of time, and the president is incapacitated. So that usually happens when the president is having surgery. It's usually not a big deal. So I guess that's the first time a woman has been president of the United States. I don't know. But it's typically looked down upon for a vice president to be super big. I'd be like, yeah, I'm technically the president of the United States. Like when George Bush was having, surgery, then Dick Cheney ended up, he wrote a whole thing to his grandkids. He's like, hey, it's your grandpa Dick, and he's technically the president right now. And that was kind of looked down upon in the press. There are other bad things that people can say about Dick Cheney that I will not repeat, but I don't know. I don't know why he was so big on being like, yeah, I'm technically the president, because he was probably one of the most influential vice presidents in history. So I don't know, I guess you could argue he was more of the president than Bush. I don't know if I would make that argument, but because I frankly am not enough familiar with that whole time period and situation to make a statement on that. Why did I drop down there? That was useless. But he was very influential because, of course, the role of the vice president has grown more and more over the years. I think Mondale was one of the first very influential vice presidents. But yeah, Dick Cheney was like, in the modern era, probably the most impactful vice president and influential. Actually, I would say of all time, maybe. But anyway, yeah, so Wilson's wife kind of was the president for a little bit. Then there's Warren G. Harding, who was crazy. His middle name G actually stood for Gamaliel. He was a complete crook. The Republicans just chose him because they were like, oh, this guy, he can talk and he's easy to manipulate. He was the first president to run, he ran in the first election that women could vote in 1920, so that's a big deal, I guess. But he's noted as one of the most corrupt presidents of all time. T-Bot Dome scandal happened under him. He was just an all-around complete shady character, untrustworthy. Yeah. Then there's Calvin Coolidge. They called him Silent Cal because he didn't talk that much. He was very like free market guy, I guess. I don't know. He tried to not. He thought his idea of the president was like a sort of like Jimmy Carter style of president, where it's like we need a president who's like quiet and soft spoken and like doesn't try to take a big, spot of the public eye and just quietly work with policy behind the scenes. But it's becoming increasingly clear, and even from American history, it's clear that Americans kind of want a flashy, bold guy that they can point to as like, that's my president. And I guess you could argue with recent elections that that's, the role of the president is becoming more of like who is the best orator, and the cabinet is the real thing that matters. I don't know. And it's more of a, I don't know, people could always argue that in a democracy it's just whoever is the flashiest talks, but I don't know. Calvin Coolidge was trying to be an antithesis to like a idea of like populism in campaigning. Anyway, then there's Herbert Hoover. He grew up poor, and then he was able to like rise out. He was very lucky, but then that ended up impacting his own personal views. So he was like, no, we should be very non-interventionist on the Great Depression. So that made things get even worse. People called the shantytowns Hoover Bills. He worked in China for a lot. He was the only president to be able to speak Chinese. He and his wife would speak it to each other so that the other aides and the people in the cabinet would have no idea what they were talking about, so they could speak in code in Chinese, basically. Well, it wasn't encrypted. They just spoke in a language other people didn't get. So, and that was very rare, probably, for a guy of that time to, like an American, to learn Chinese. FDR, he married his cousin. I don't know. I went to Hyde Park when I was really little, and this is when I was learning how to ride a bike. At the time, my grandpa showed me the driveway of Hyde Park, and he said, you know, this is where Franklin Roosevelt learned how to ride a bike. And I don't know if that's true, but I like to believe it's true. I don't know. I don't know if that counts as an FDR fun fact, but like everyone knows stuff about FDR, you know, his polio, his New Deal, you know, Tennessee Valley Works Company, you know, one of the most influential presidents. He expanded the role of the bureaucracy and more role of the government in people's lives, created the Social Security program. I think that was Roosevelt, right? Did Roosevelt start Social Security? Yeah, he did. Okay. Sorry. I was wondering if that was Great Society. I think Great Society was like Medicare and Medicaid. No, not that. Sorry. I said no because of Celeste, not the facts. But we'll get to Great Society later. But I don't know if that's the biggest fun fact about Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson has more interesting things that you could talk about than that. But yeah, also, Roosevelt serves for a really long time. He dies. Harry Truman takes over. Harry Truman is from Independence, Missouri. He would just talk to people outside of his house because he moved back into his old crappy suburban house after he was president. And people would just show up and like try to take pictures with him and see him on the front porch and stuff. He lives right next door to this giant temple called the Community of Christ Temple. It is a split-off group from the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, founded by, I believe, maybe Joseph Smith III, I believe. I don't know. Actually, I don't know, because I think maybe Joseph Smith III was one of the mainstream LDS prophets, presidents of the church. But this is like one of the major splinter reform groups, and its headquarters is in Independence, Missouri, and it has a pretty unique architectural design on the curves of the thing. It's like a really like spirally building, and I don't know. It's just kind of interesting that that one street in Independence, Missouri has so much history. I guess Independence, Missouri is a very historical town, considering it's like known as like the start-off point for the Oregon Trail and like people heading west. That's like the last big city that they would stop at. So I guess they could say that also, but so that's my Harry Truman fun fact. Then there's Eisenhower. I don't know. Eisenhower, he had that one picture where he looks really fruity. I got nothing. I don't know. They called him Ike despite the fact that his name was Dwight. I don't know much about Eisenhower. Oh, he ended up having a heart attack once, and it ended up ruining how Americans and the world like perceive health, because they were like, we need to find something about why he had a heart attack, because we can't have Americans be having health problems in the middle of the Cold War. And they were like, it must be because he eats so much fat. And they're like, Americans should stop eating fat and start eating sugar. And they like that became like the whole thing. And sugar is actually probably a lot worse for you than fat. So, and maybe the real reason why he had a heart attack also happened to do with how he smoked a ton. But I don't know. So, womp womp. We love spreading health misinformation. Also, speaking of misinformation, everything I say here might be wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. You know, maybe George Washington wasn't even the president, and I'm joking. I know for a fact that's right, but I'm not telling you, like, question everything. Everything I say is a lie, but I mean, like, I don't know. I might not know a lot of the finer details, so sorry about that. I'm only a person with, like, a passing interest, and it is a thing I care about a lot, but, you know. Anyway, so that's Eisenhower. Kennedy for me. Apparently, actually, so Kennedy's dad was like, one of my kids is gonna be the president of the United States one day. Sorry, so that was one of his big things. Because they were like new money, and their whole thing's like, we need to get the mainstream American establishment to like respect our family. And apparently it was originally going to be Kennedy's older brother, but I think he died or something. And then the dad was like, okay, we have to pivot. John, you're going to be president now. All right? But I don't know. Kennedy's father was terrible. So he tried to like get all his kids to be political dynasty. I don't know. Basically, there's the Kennedy curse. I don't know if it's true. I think it's just, I don't know, generational trauma and trying to be in positions of power that leads to bad things happening. I don't know. Did I know I can skip the cutscene on the seated berry animation? I did not know that. I'm learning things, new things. I hope you're learning new things. I hope you find them interesting and not like I'm being an insane person rambling about JFK's brother. But yeah. Anyway, there's LBJ. LBJ would always, he was kind of a creep. He would do a lot of interviews with people while he was on the bathroom and while like pooping. He'd be like, "Yeah, come in, guys. I'm just talking right here," and he'd like keep making people do interviews with him. He also has this. He's famous for this one phone call where he talks about he yells at his tailor for his like pants not fitting him correctly, and it's quite a funny listen. You should check it out after the stream. Of course, you should keep watching me because I'm very entertaining. You know, it's basically just a push, but accompanied with gameplay to keep you guys occupied. I'm joking. I'm joking. A push is more interesting than this. But I will never make you write a DBQ. That's my on my honor as a VTuber. I will never make you write an essay. Scouts honor? I don't know. People say Scouts honor. I don't know. Do Scouts have that much honor? Like, it's just like a club of kids. I don't know. Sorry to disrespect the Scouts of America. So, if you're a Scout, sorry. Anyway. Nixon now. Well, forever. Nixon now for you and me. That's what they said. I don't know. Nixon was a deeply weird man. He's a very interesting person. I don't know. He captivates me. Tricky dick. He was incredibly crooked. Well, I don't know if he was incredibly crooked, but he's famous for Watergate and being, you know, it's fun calling him a crook because he said I'm not a crook. It's fun calling him Tricky Dick. He actually started the EPA because I guess the environmentalism wasn't seen as like a really big political issue. It was like seen as like a multi-party thing that people cared about back in those days. And I don't know. He was big on it. He started the war on drugs, which I have opinions about that we're not going to get into because I don't know. I'm gonna as we get more into modern times, I'm gonna stray less and less into my facts, political facts. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I got distracted again. Yeah. So, does that count as a Nixon fun fact? Let me try to think of another Nixon fun fact. I guess his running mate was Spiro Agnew from Maryland. There was a big campaign ad against him made by Hubert Humphrey where there was just a blank screen with the phrase Vice President Spiro Agnew on it, and it's just Hubert Humphrey laughing at it because they're like, how ridiculous could it be? But, you know, he did become vice president. He was probably more crooked than Richard Nixon, to be honest. He stepped down before Nixon. I don't know if Nixon would have been fully removed from office. I'm not that sure, but he definitely was disgraced, and he felt that leaving was the right thing to do. Anyway, Jimmy Carter, I talked about that. Yeah, he was trying to be more laid back. He was the first centenarian, but people probably know that because he recently turned 100 and then died. Peanut farmer from Georgia. Plains, Georgia specifically is his hometown. Was his hometown. He's the only president who became too old to play with Legos because Legos say from ages like 4 to 99 on them. So, tough luck, Jimmy. He's famous because he told people to try to save energy. He said, go inside and put on a cardigan. And people made fun of him for that a lot. People really hated Jimmy Carter back in the day, but then he got more and more respected over time after his presidency. When people were like, you know what? This guy was kind of chill. Ronald Reagan, everyone knows he's a movie star. He had Alzheimer's and he really liked to clean the leaves out of his pool. And the Secret Service would start putting more leaves in his pool so that he could keep doing it because he found it really relaxing. That's my Reagan fun fact, and I'm totally gonna die here. Yep. George H.W. Bush, he hated broccoli. He's like, I am the president of the United States, and you are not gonna make me eat broccoli. He also had a long-standing feud with the Simpsons because he insulted them in a campaign speech. But he appeared on The Simpsons then, so I think they had good times. Oh, also, Carter appeared on King of the Hill once. As himself, of course. But, yeah. Then we got Bill Clinton. There's a lot of things about Bill Clinton. I think you guys already know everything about him. I don't know. He plays the sax. He went on the Arsenio Hall show. People were like, oh, he's a cool, hip, modern guy for the 90s. I'm just a southern boy. I can't do a Bill Clinton voice. I don't know. But it was a fun fact about Bill Clinton. He's not related to DeWitt Clinton. I don't know. That's not a... He met JFK when he was a teen or something, and then he was like, yo, I need to be president. And I guess he made good on that promise. And you know who else promises to be the president and will be president? Me. I will be the first VTuber president. Anyway, then George W. Bush, not H.W. W. He likes to paint. I don't think he's very good at it personally, but yeah. Another one of those presidents who wins because of the Electoral College, very controversial. Yeah. Obama hates ice cream. Unlike his running mate Joe Biden, he hated ice cream. I think because he had to work at an ice cream shop, and it was a terrible experience, and because of that, he does not like ice cream anymore. Also, he claims that his type is, in his diary in college, he claims that he likes, quote, ethereal bisexuals, and that he, quote, makes love to men daily in the mind. So, I don't know if he's ever explained what he meant by that, but kind of interesting. I'm going to skip to Joe Biden so I can get the current president last. Joe Biden, first president from Delaware, I guess. Very tragic life. Whereas his wife and kids died in a car crash. Now he has cancer. I don't know. Well, he became president. He used to try to pick up girls in bars by being like, hey, baby girl, I'm going to be the president of the United States one day. He was the youngest senator at the time. When he won the election, he wasn't even old enough to be senator. He turned it old enough in between the election and taking the office. But he was in Washington and he didn't get in the car crash. And Richard Nixon actually went to console him. And he was like, who is this Biden guy anyway? And they had to talk to him about it. And that's really cool. It feels like a post-credit scene of a movie when you see that clip. Also, he wandered off into the Amazon rainforest and hasn't been seen since. I joke. He's in Delaware somewhere. I think he was spotted eating ice cream on the beach of... Oh my god. Oh, I think OBS just disconnected. Are we good? Are we good, everybody? The storm, the wind, it took out OBS. I just final president Donald Trump. Everyone knows he saved this guy. I don't know. He had a board game. I don't know. What hasn't this man done? I could say like anything about him and it would sound believable. I don't know. They made a Daddy's Home edit of him on the official White House account, which is I never thought I'd see a presidential Daddy's Home usher edit, but I don't know. I guess that happened. His wife got married on his golf course for tax reasons. What can I say about him that's non-controversial? He loves McDonald's. I went to the McDonald's near the White House, and it actually was really mid. Maybe that's just because there were a lot of people there, but also I was like, damn, like, maybe I'm just not a McDonald's person because I don't like McDonald's that much, but, like, I've had definitely better McDonald's than McDonald's there. That's where I had McDonald's fries, and I was like, people really love to hype on McDonald's fries, and are like, McDonald's fries are the best fries ever. But I got, like, even a Diet Coke there, because I was like, oh, I wonder what the presidential McDonald's meal is. Like, you know. So I should go to Rehoboth, get the Joe Biden ice cream, go to Plains, get the Jimmy Carter peanuts. Oh, my God, I missed a strawberry. Well, I gotta go back. When I'm president, they're gonna have the Pulcinella Margherita pizza, and it's gonna be the one made by my Baba. I don't know, I hope he's alive to see me become president. Hopefully it's not a Joe Biden situation where I become the oldest president ever. I think Trump is on track to become the oldest president ever because technically he won the election, his election at a time where he was older than Biden was. But I guess if Joe Biden stayed in the race, he totally would have won and become the oldest president again. But we'll never know. So those are president fun facts with Puccinella. I hope you enjoyed. Our hands are starting to hurt a lot with this. I think my keyboard setup is not very good for intense games where I have to press the buttons very frequently, so my fingers are aching a lot. So, let me know if everything's okay. Tell me if OBS failing was that bad. Just let me know in the chat. I don't like it when chat is so quiet. It really sucks me out, guys. I mean, you don't have to engage, but it'd be cool. I want to know what you think. I can't believe this just turned into me lecturing about U.S. presidents, but it's a thing I care a lot about, and I think it's really fun and cool. I should learn more about people who failed to become president. I'm trying to memorize all of them so I can be like Logan Roy, because there's a scene in the final episode of Succession where it's like him like listing off every president that lost. Oh, I know exactly which strawberry I forgot. This is what I always forget because I try to take the side path where there's a strawberry on it, but then if you continue down the main path, there's also strawberry. There's a skip here, but I never do it because I'm not confident enough. I'm a coward. But yeah, I think after this chapter, I'm going to stop for the day. I think it's 4 chapters to a decent amount into the game, you know. And my hands hurt, and I don't want to bore you. Steam Summer Sale is today. I bought a decent amount of stuff, and by a decent amount, I mean 3 games. I hope to play 2 of them on stream. The third one is Danganronpa. I don't think that's that good of a stream game, but other one is Binding of Isaac, and I think I'll play that tomorrow. So, look forward to that. I'll play Hades 2 eventually on stream. I'm addicted to Hades 2. But, I don't know. I very much can believe this turned into you lecturing about presidents. How rude. It's almost like I do that regularly, is lecture about presidents. I get into a thing where I talk about a thing that I care about a lot, and then I can literally just yappy. Like, I could probably find, like, other facts about presidents and just talk about them. Like, literally just some of the presidents I know more about. Like, I don't know, if you take, like the Biden, Obama, and Trump, I could literally probably do a whole stream talking about them. Because I'm insane. I think we're going to save it quick here. And, oh, why did I make that noise? How disgusting. How rude. Your son has inadvertently, we hope, sent a disgusting picture to my gorgeous granddaughter Isabel. It's very rude. Sorry for the sniffling, folks. I hope you enjoyed A-Push, the stream, / Celeste. I love Celeste. I love talking about presidents. 2 of my favorite things. And I really like streaming. I'll tell you more about the Focaccia tomorrow. And maybe we'll play some Binding of Isaac. I hope that sounds nice with you. And I hope you have an amazing day. And, as always,